Digital tools are an increasingly popular way for young people to access information and services, from education to healthcare. Mobile technology can be used for accessing comprehensive sexuality education, convenient and confidential health services, including sexual and reproductive health care and accurate information about sexual and reproductive health and rights, leading to better levels of education, healthy and safe relationships, empowerment, and general well-being. But almost half of the world's population remains offline, with women and girls less likely to have access to technology. In low and middle-income countries, only 54% of women now use mobile internet. Closing the digital gender divide by promoting policies centered on women's empowerment, including sexual and reproductive health and rights, is crucial to creating a digital transformation that leaves no one behind. Digital equality is essential to ensuring every young person's potential is fulfilled. Share, like, comment, and help us spread the message. As a young woman, having access to sexual and reproductive health and rights services is essential for me to achieve my potential. It supports me to lead a healthy life, address violence and power relations, participate in economic, social, and political life, and make decisions governing my own body freely. Thanks to having access to sexual and reproductive care, including a full package of youth-friendly sexual health services, family planning, and comprehensive sexuality education, young women like me can have access to decent work opportunities and fulfill our potential. Only then can we become change makers, promoting gender equality and driving forward sustainable growth. The realization of the sexual and reproductive rights of all people and eliminating gender-based violence is necessary to ensure we leave no one behind in the effort to realize economic justice. Share, like, and comment if you agree.
Malnutrition is actually a term that refers to undernutrition and overnutrition. Now, undernutrition refers to inadequate intake of certain nutrients, and this affects children in terms of growth and development. And overnutrition refers to excessive intake of certain nutrients.
To communities where you can have an open conversation. And that's why I'm so excited and I feel so privileged to have been asked by DSW, by Bayer, to be a part of this launch, the launch of Life Yangu. So many Kenyans are below the age of 35. Private institutions only reach about 30% of the population when it comes to information and the products that we need. So to have this launched, knowing that it's going to reach so many people and make a huge difference in the lives of so many young people and especially young women, is very, very exciting. Earlier, somebody from Bayer was telling me that the plan is to reach 100 million young women by 2030. That is a big and audacious dream. So what we're doing today, very, very important. I'm glad you're all seated. Good morning. So as we wait, okay, I see our chief guest has sat down. This is an important week for us as Kenyans. We lost our third president, and I'm going to ask Vitalis Mukebi to come to the stage. We'll start with an opening prayer and also observe a moment of silence in honor of our third president, Mwai Kibaki. Let's all stand up. Actually, Vitalis, is that what you wanted us to do? Did you want us to stand up? Okay.
Thank you, Valentine. Our dear guests, good morning. As Valentine has correctly placed, we would like to hold a minute of silence in honor of our departed President, Mwai Kibaki. Thereafter, we'll do a prayer. So we'll start with the silence. Today is a day filled with abundant grace and blessings, including the gift of rains. So we want to start by thanking our Heavenly Father so that same blessings, the same abundance can follow us throughout our function. Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we come before you this morning. We thank you, we glorify your name, we lift you up because of the many blessings that you've granted us today. We still thank you for the wonderful gifts and the everlasting mercies that you've given unto us. We also thank you because of the journey mercies that you've granted all our guests to arrive here. And as we start this function, we commit put ourselves before you. We also commit the entire function. We pray that you lead us. We pray that you guide us throughout the function. We pray for your wisdom. We pray for your guidance in all things that we are going to undertake. We pray also for our online guests who are following us through that media, that you will still be with them, you will still guide them and grant them the same connection that we have here, and we will still glorify your name. By the end of this session, we'll lift up your name, and as we return to our different places of work, we'll also glorify you. For in Christ's name we pray and believe. You may be seated, please.
As we were speaking a few minutes ago, I learned that Vitalis is actually an assistant pastor, because I was asking him, why you? Why are you the one to pray? Usually, for some reason, this duty falls to a woman. Have you noticed that? It's always a woman who's saying thank you and who is praying and being asked to serve tea. But anyway, so thank you, Vitalis, for starting us off. I'd like to start by recognizing the presence of our chief guest, Dr. George Rai. I did not want to say your name wrong, and I was told to say it like Aluo. So I've put on my Akinyi hat, and I've said Rai. I hope I got it right. Who is the acting CEC from Kisumu County, and the BEA staff, the BEA team led by Dr. Frank Strello, and the DSW country director, Evelyn Samba. Welcome, welcome. And this product, Life Yangu, could only exist from listening to the young people who are going to use it. Listening to the young people who have said, we are in need of these services, this is how we speak, can you speak to us in our language? So thank you for your participation, and I recognize your presence. And we're looking forward to hearing more and more from you in the course of the morning. As you heard, the event is being streamed on Life Yangu Official. That's the handle, Life Yangu Official, and that's on Facebook. It's on YouTube, and I also think it's on Instagram. I hope I'm correct about that. Are we live on Instagram? Is that what's happening? No, we're not live on Instagram. It's on Facebook and also on YouTube, Life Yangu. And as we tweet and we have this conversation online, please use the hashtag Life Yangu. Please use the hashtag Life Yangu. Again, that's Life Yangu hashtag. I hope I've done all the online and streaming housekeeping and we've gotten it correct. Let's see if we can get this topic to trend. Let's see if we can make some noise, get some media houses and other people following the conversation. So let's all commit to do at least 3 tweets, okay? 3 tweets from every single person in the room. We should get this conversation going very well online. So without further ado, as I said, we'll hear from young people. Doreen Nafula is the county youth representative for Nairobi. Such a big job. She's been trained in advocacy on sexual reproductive health and rights issues. And Doreen, we can't wait to hear from you. I'll welcome you to the stage. Doreen Nafula. Can we please clap for this young woman as she makes her way to the stage? These are not easy issues to discuss, especially when you're a young woman, when you're targeted as, huyo ndio huongea hii maneno. It's not easy. People ask you all kinds of questions. Your dating life changes. Trust me, I know. When I used to write the column, people would be like, you can't date Valentine. She'll write about you in the paper. If you underperform, you will be known. So it's not an easy job to have. Doreen, welcome.
Morning. Actually, turn to your neighbor, say hi to 5 people. Kama amenyamaza, mwambie smile. Let us start. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and all the protocol observed, good morning. I'm Doreen Nafula Nyongesa from Mathare North Youth Organization, as a young person. I'm humbled at the same time, honored for me to attend this launch of Life Yangu. I'm from Madare. Madare is a densely populated area where there's many youth there, many adolescents and teenagers at the same time. I'm going to tackle the challenge that faces young people in Madare that also hinders them, which hinders them to access information of sexual reproductive health and rights and services. One is lack of information, lack of proper information. People are not able to get proper information to someone because, as like me, we find that people know the information very well, but they don't want to give you. They are saying that, why should I give you the information of contraceptive, yet you doesn't have any kid? How will it help you? How will it help you to know about contraceptive, yet you will not use them? Another challenge is religious belief. I come from a family where people believe in Bible. They say that when God sent man in earth, he told them that we should go and multiply and fill the earth. So why should we get the information of contraceptive, yet it's against the Bible? So that is another challenge. Another one is cultural beliefs. In cultural beliefs, as youth, we have different perspectives between boys and girls, as well for types of services delivered. You find that when a girl go to the facility to take antenatal care services, on other hands, boys perceive services of health facility are only meant for women and children. So there is no need for them to go to access the service. Another thing, there is myth and conception. I have a friend, she normally tells me, why should you go for contraceptive? And yet I went for one to get family planning, and I became bigger. Some tell me that I'm thin because of this family planning. It has made me to be like this. And so back of your mind, you say that, I want to maintain my figure, my body goals. Girls, you know body goals. So you want to be shaped because you think that if you get fat or thin, boys will leave you. Another thing is on misconception. We find that one can say that contraceptive or family planning, it makes one to be barren, of which is not right or good. Because you find someone takes family planning, when he removes it, it takes time for her to get pregnant. So after the long period, she said that I'm barren, yet it's not true. Another thing, peer pressure. We find that as youth, we are in a certain group. You have your friends having kids, and you doesn't have one. They say that you have been in family planning, that's why you're not getting a kid. And so it will bring stigmatization. You will want, even you will want so to be able to get a kid, that feeling, because they're saying that you don't have a kid, it's pushing you, and virtually you're going to get pregnant, and also you can get different kinds of diseases, STIs and HIV. Another thing is poverty. Poverty, it's also a challenge. Poverty, it makes us to do some things which are not right. We can go find a boda man, go with him. Like you want to have birds, but you cannot access it. So the boda man tells you, like, let's go this way. I'm going to give you 50 shillings to buy the sanitary towels, pads. But before I give you, you must sleep with me. I give you that thing. So that's a challenge, poverty. Another thing, since we have one facility within Madare, sometimes you can go to the facility and find that the family planning are out of the stock. So you go to the chemist. The chemist, the service provider is not well informed. So it's giving you the family planning which is not rhyming with your body. My conclusion is, if there'll be an app that can gather all the information about contraceptive, we will really appreciate, because it will help anyone to be able to access anywhere, anytime, and every time that he or she wants. It will not have any limitation. Also, if you don't want to share with our friends, because sometimes you can share with your friends and find that your friend are going to say to other friends, so it will really stigmatize you. So if there will be such an app which it will have a privacy, we'll really appreciate. And also, if the app will be free for youth to be able to engage themselves, to chat in, to share their problem, we really, really appreciate. Without much further ado, I would love to thank you all for lending me your ears and participating in this event. Thank you.
We have another round of applause for Doreen Nafula for articulating the bottlenecks to accessing contraception and all this and information on sexual reproductive health. And you know, she's said it so well, exactly what is in the way for young people and why Life Yangu is so important. Thank you, Doreen. Again, a round of applause. Thank you, thank you. They're doing a lot in Madare North, and we have a youth group who've been rehearsing and scripting and practicing. Kuza Sana Africa are going to present us with a very short skit. Let's clap for them as they make their way to the stage. As they set up, a quick reminder that because of the videography and the photography happening in the room, being in this room is your legal acquiescence to being recorded. That is the equivalent of a release form. If you don't want to be recorded, you would have to leave. So that's our legal disclaimer that you will be on camera. You'll be on camera. You're ready? Okay.
One. Jonte. Ay. Siku mingi Jo.
Umepotea bana.
Siku mingi Jo, walai.
Umekaa mkunyolewa.
Ndio ile style yangu ile moja, si ndio? Si ni chap.
Sawa sawa, uko hapa. Umefika sasa.
Nimefika walai.
Pia sasa tulia unyolewe.
Liz. Poa sana. Sasa Aki si last time ulinitengeneza vizuri.
Nikwambia kazi yangu ni safi.
Ndio maana nimerudi tena. Hebu nitengeneze, niko na shughuli naenda.
Cheki. Alafu nikuulize. Ulisikia news fulani hivi watu wengine walikuwa wanapita huku chini wamevaa shati za white zimeandikwa Life Yangu. Unawakumbuka?
Wale watu walikuwa wanazungumza kuhusu contraceptive.
Bas, hebu kiasi. Sunono mama huyo mroma ameingia hapa saa hii huyo. Huyo alikuwa kwa mstari ya kwanza.
Alikuwa. Na hata ana cartoon kama anatumia hizo vitu. Tafadhali pole sasa.
Chini ya maji na wenyewe.
Mimi nakwambia hizo vitu siwezi tumia. Sijui niko ni hata wife yangu akisikia hizo vitu atakangi kabisa. Hatuwezi tumia hizo vitu.
Jonte. Kumbe pia umesikia hizo vitu.
Nimesikia.
Mimi nasikia ati ukitumia hizo vitu tena uache nini kutumia. Unaweza kosa hadi mtoto. Wewe imagine bila mtoto uko kwa marriage.
Ni ukweli. Ukitumia hizo contraceptive ndio unasikia watu wanasema.
Kwanza mambo ya family planning. Mimi nikisikia demu yangu kuna mambo ya family planning na mgongo namrudisha kwao. Sidai story zake. Sidai kabisa.
Na pia mnasikia huku nje. Ati unaweza nona. Mimi naipiga yangu. Hebu oneni chekini tu. Naifiga yangu hivi. Nikiwa mnono na kaa vibaya
hapana. Waacha hivyo unasema. Nimesikia imesemwa. That hizo vitu kitumia na kuambia unakuwa mbaridi. Kifika ile pande nyingine, wewe ni mbaridi, wewe ni mcool. Hizi tumia.
Jamani. Unajua nimekuwa nimeketi hapa nasikiza conversation yenu. Hadi nimeshangaa. Hizi vitu zenye mnasema, mnajua ni kweli ama ni kusikia tu mnasikia?
Tumesikia.
Si kila kitu mnasikia ni cha kweli.
Lakini kumbuka lisemalo ulipo kama alipo laja.
Hapana. Ni vizuri sana kuenda wewe mwenyewe kwa kituo na kupata ushauri kamili kutoka kwa daktari.
Na wewe mwenye unasema hizo vitu, kila siku tu ni pere. Unatuletea vitu. Wewe unajua hizo tumia hizo vitu kweli?
Mimi nimetumia hizi vitu kwa muda mrefu sana.
Unatudanganya.
Kwanza wewe umesema ati mtu akitumia hizi vitu ananona anakuwa na shape mbaya. Niko na shape mbaya kweli? Alafu wewe unasema ukitumia ati utakuwa mbaridi. Niko na watoto 4. Na nimekuwa nikiwapanga vizuri sana. Kumaanisha mimi sio mbaridi.
Kweli?
Na sunakaa vizuri. Pia mimi nataka kwenda nijue mambo zaidi about family planning.
Unajidanganya. Mimi hizi vitu hakuna wewe naenda kutumia. Mid life ni yangu. Mambo ya family planning sitaki. Endeni.
Lakini huyu mtu ameongea mzuri. Mimi nataka nifuatane na huyu. Nataka niende nione kio kitasema kani ukweli. Si tunaweza enda tuone.
Sawa basi, hata tuende sasa hivi tusipoteze muda.
Tuende basi.
Ndio, tuendeni. Lakini ni mbali, msijali tutafika tu.
Sawa.
Habari ya daktari? Samahani sana kwa kuchelewa. Jana tumehudumia watu wengi. Jana kulikuwa kumejaa huku yani.
Janet yuko wapi?
Janet
hatuwezi fanya kazi hivi, unasikia?
Samahani daktari.
Ndani uangalie kama dawa zimetosha na kuna vifaa za kutosha za kuhudumia watu.
Sawa.
Ingia na uanze kazi yako haraka. Chukua vitu uanze kazi.
Hey, tena ni wewe umerudi. Hey, hamchoki? Jana tumeshinda tumewasaidia, tena leo tena umenikujia na watu wengine. Kwani shida yenu ni nini kwa hii mtaa? Daktari, pia hawa wanataka kuona daktari. Na vile ni wadogo. Okay. Sawa. Haya, mnaweza ingia kuona daktari basi.
Naweza ingia?
Tuingie ama urudi.
Daktari, jana. Karibu sana. Saidia vipi? Nilikuwa nataka msaada unisaidie.
Condom.
Hivyo.
Tuko nazo kwa wingi sana.
Ziko?
Sawa,
Zinaweza patikana?
Nitakupatia. Sawa.
Shida ni nini?
Unaona huyo mama anajuana na mama yangu. Hizi story before nifike kwa nyumba nitazipata na mama yangu. Mimi sitaki.
Daktari, asante. Na ni mingi.
Hata ukienda nyumbani, gawia wengine. Na waambie vijana huko nje wasiogope kuja kwa nini.
Sawa. Inaenda door to door, nikipe kila moja yake. Lazima wapate. Yeah.
Haya, sawa. Mwingine?
Jonte, umesaidika?
Nimesaidika ndio hii.
Ni vizuri sana.
Mimi nimesaidika na huyo daktari ndio youth friendly, yani ako sawa. Amezungumza na mimi vizuri, amenielezea kuhusu hizi vitu. Yuko sawa kabisa. So kitu yenye shida ni ile umbali. Kama ingewezekana ikuwe kitu kama inaitwa kitu kama maybe social media, something like vitu kama hizo, website ingekuwa fiti sana. At least tungesaidika kupata information.
Yenyewe, juu pia mimi ningepata information virahisi sana na singeogopa huyu mama.
Ni kweli wanafaa kuwa na website. Na pia hizi vitu zienee kwa social media ndio kila mtu aweze kuaccess information vizuri. Sawa, twende tusichelewe.
Daktari. Lakini sasa wewe unataka tu tushinde tumekaribisha kila mtu,
Wewe unapenda udaku sana. Nishakwambia mara mingi, anything between us and patients ni confidential.
Lakini wacha nikuambie kitu nilikuwa nasahau. Umeona kwa kadem kadogo kenye kalikuwa hapa?
Mama wewe.
Tuko na church na imagine amekuja hizi vitu.
Wacha mambo mingi, unasikia? Wacha mambo mingi. Hebu endelea na
daktari,
kazi. Tuendelee na kazi kwa sababu mambo mingi, sawa?
Sawa.
Patient, doctor, confidentiality. Sawa?
Sawa, nimejua kuanzia leo.
Na uwase kuanzia leo usieneze vumi juu ya patients hapa.
Sawa, daktari,
sawa.
Samahani.
Thank you.
Another round of applause, please, for Kuza Sana from Mathare North. For our non-Swahili speakers, what happened, they're in a salon and a barber shop, and they're having a conversation about contraception and the myths surrounding it. And the young lady was convinced that she would get fat. She had been told that her contraception will ruin her figure. And the young man had also been told that it'll chill his body. I think that means his libido will decrease. And so they had, then the older lady said, actually, I've been on contraception. I have 4 children, and I've been able to plan my family and build my family in a way that I'm proud of. So she took them to the clinic. There was, of course, a nurse who was the young lady's mother's friend, which scared the young lady. That's why she refused to even speak to the doctor. And the young guy was given condoms and told to distribute, and he said he will give them door to door on his way home. And that he wished he could have this conversation in a private setting like social media or a website, so he wouldn't have to be seen going in and out of the clinic. So that's the skit in a nutshell. I hope I've done you justice, Kuza Sana, in all of 30 seconds. And now it's time for our panel discussion. I have too many papers in my hands right now. There's a lady called Hawa. Mwana Hawa, please make your way to the stage. And Bruce. And so Mwana Hawa is a 21-year-old third-year student in clinical medicine. She is passionate about youth empowerment, youth mentorship and health advocacy, especially on issues relating to sexual reproductive health. She has 3 years worth of experience in budget advocacy, specifically on the increment and development of a specific family planning budget line by the national government and Mombasa County. All of this at 21. Can't wait to meet you when you're 42. And Mrs. Terry Kananu Mutua, Chief Nursing Officer, Deputy Sub-County Public Health Nurse from Raraka. Also, please make your way to the stage. Nurse Terry has experience of over 15 years, and she's passionate in offering reproductive health services, especially to women of reproductive age, and in addressing all maternal indicators within Nairobi. I'm sure, unlike the nurse in the skit, she knows about doctor-patient confidentiality. And finally, but not least, Bruce Kinodia, Black Coffee Youth Group from all the way from Nakuru. Thank you for joining us. He's a youth champion at Black Coffee Network, and he's dedicated his time towards empowering young people with knowledge and skills on their sexual reproductive health and rights. And he's a trained peer educator who uses social media as a platform to reach young people with information on sexual reproductive health. You're exactly what the skit said they need. So without further ado, and all my many, many papers. You try not to do this as an MC, but it's kind of inevitable. So welcome, and thanks for having this conversation with us. You've come from all over the country. And let's just start. Mwanahawa, what struggles and challenges do young people face in accessing sexual reproductive health information and services?
All protocols observed. Good morning. My name is Mwanahawa Ali. I come from Mombasa, SEA Youth Organization. That is my CBO. And first and foremost, I'd like to take this opportunity to give my sincere gratitude to BEA and DSW for giving me this chance to voice out the needs and challenges that we as young people do face on the ground. And without much ado, one of the challenges that we face as young people is inadequate access to sexual reproductive health and contraception information. As the first speaker had pointed that out, we have very limited access. As we all know that our world is going digital, right? So we young people obtain most of our information from the internet. But with the kind of world we have right now, it is difficult to distinguish which is legit information, because we need the accurate and correct information, which is very, very difficult to find nowadays. Another source of information that we use as young people is peer-to-peer talk or peer-to-peer mentorship. This has been going on for a lot of time, now for a long period of time. But also, each youth, each young person has a different version of their own experience. So if a young person comes to me and gives me her version of the story, and another one comes to give me another version of her story, as the skit here that was being performed, it pointed out that we don't know which story is true. All we have to do is go and seek the correct and accurate information from the facility, which is very limited. So another challenge is the information that is being delivered, it is too complicated. Use of medical jargons, for instance, when you tell a young person about Depo-Provera, when you tell a young person about IUCD, intrauterine contraception device, they will be so amazed. They will still be having questions of what that contraception is all about. Instead, using, where I come from, we use words like sindano to address maybe the injectables. We use words like vijiti to address implants, and so on and so forth, like kopati. These are words that we as young people are conversant with. So if the the health providers are youth-friendly and are trained about the kind of language that we use, then I think everything will be smooth. Then myths and misconception are also another big challenge, because we come from different backgrounds, we come from different cultural beliefs, we all have our own religious beliefs. So when it comes to the kind of information that we get, each and every person comes with his or her own myths and misconceptions. Someone will tell you that when I was told that, in quotes, quoting a young person talking to another young person, I heard somewhere that ukitumia hiyo implant, utanona within 3 years, within 1 year utanona. And as the young lady who was performing the skit was clearly putting it out, we have body goals. So when someone thinks of losing their body shape just because of a contraception, it's like, it's a no for me. I can't, can never be me, as you say. So myths and misconceptions are also a very huge hindrance to use and uptake of contraceptions and sexual reproductive health. And another challenge that was also pointed out during the skit was confidentiality and privacy issues. Gosh, this is, we as young people are very, very conservative and are very sensitive to who and where we open up to. If I am to open up to you, I have to know that you are youthful at heart. I have to know that you do experience the same kind of challenges I do. You do face the same kind of issues that I do, you know. And when we talk about the privacy issues, you find that in health facilities that we have, maybe the family planning room is at the corner there. And there is a huge queue that I have to pass through so that I can go and attain the service that I need. So such kind of environments are not very conducive for youth to be able to attain these services. Just finishing off, we have limited access, that is the same as the privacy issues. Yeah, commodity stockout. This has been a huge hindrance to the uptake and a very big challenge that we young people face. The young people in this room can concur with me that there have been cases of commodity outstock, especially on the modern method of contraceptives, right? Young people in the house, is this so? Yes, because right now we have an outstock of depot that is countrywide. So this derails the young people. For instance, if I have a passion, I really want to use the depot for me, and another person wants to use a UCD, but then the moment you reach the facility, the health provider tells you that we are sorry, but that contraceptive is not available as at now. But there are other options. But then once I made up my mind that it's depot that I want, then so be it. So such kind of hindrances, such kind of issues makes us to derail in the uptake of sexual reproductive health and contraceptive services.
Thank you so much, Mwanahawa. We promised that we're doing how many tweets? 2 or 3, each one of us. Mwanahawa has given us so many tweetable points about what is in the way for young people as they're struggling and trying to access SRH information. So we can all mention some myths that we've heard about contraception and SRH, products. So maybe that can be your tweet, or you could ask a question. Remember, we're using the hashtag Life Yangu. We're using the hashtag Life Yangu. And Nurse Terry, she's pointed at the medical community very clearly and pointedly. What challenges do healthcare providers face in providing SRHR information and services?
Thank you. Thank you and good morning all. My name is Terry Mutua. I am a nurse by profession. I'm seated here on behalf of our reproductive health coordinator, Nairobi County, Esther Kiabati, who could not be with us, but we work as a team. We work as a team in Nairobi to scale up these services within Nairobi. So you find Nairobi is represented in 10 sub-counties, Ruaraka being one of them. We've been working with this youth for many years in Ruaraka, Roysambu sub-county, DSW. They call me Nasteri. Nasteri is young at heart. I offer services passionately to the youth to scale up these services to address these indicators within Nairobi sub-county. So in our facilities, we have government facilities that offer free services. These services are free, so they access these services in our facilities, but we have challenges here and there when we're offering these services. And most of these challenges you find, like my dear one has said, one of them is stockouts. So you find for the last quarter, we've had a stock out of depot. It has been out of stock. So it becomes a challenge when they are coming to our services to seek these services, and some of these commodities are not there. And majority of them, they come with a preset mind. They want these injectables. So when they are not there, they will go to the counter, they will buy, and they will buy without the information, the right information. They end up using without having gotten the right counseling. Another challenge that we have in our facilities, you find most of the time we do our trainings. We upscale the capacity of the healthcare worker. But at times, even after upscaling the capacity, you find this high turnover, and especially in the private sector. So you train people this month, you go supervision after 3 months, you find the people that you had trained, you had capacitated the skills, maybe on insertions of the long-term methods, they are not there. They have gotten green pastures. So it's become a challenge to some of us who are trying to implement these services within our sub-counties. And before you take them again for training, you upskill the skills, it takes time. So when the young ones goes to the facilities, when the youth goes to these facilities to seek services, you find this nobody who is capable. Maybe in a public facility, there's nobody who has skills to insert IUCD. There's nobody who has the skills to insert JADEL. But we are trying our best in Nairobi sub-county, supported by various partners that we have, including the DSW, to upscale these skills within our facility, within our staffs. Another challenge that we have is you find most of our facilities we work from 8 a.m. to around 5 p.m. So the young ones, majority of them are available after 5. So what we've done as a Nairobi County, being a challenge, time factor being a challenge, we've identified some facilities where we are offering 24-hour services. Some facilities are even working over the weekends so that the young ones can access these facilities, services, without much problems. Another thing that we've had a problem to address the time factor is we go for outreaches. Supported by most of our partners, we've had many outreach in our facilities within Nairobi County, where we take services outside the facilities so that the young ones can access. I talked about building capacity. You find in most facilities, we don't have this is a setup for youth-friendly services. So what we've done is to integrate these services within our setups. We have a table that we've identified. This is a youth-friendly table where they are able to come access the services. We've identified the peer educators among themselves. We've identified specific people within the facilities who are able to offer these services, and they are able to access them. Another big challenge that we've had is fear and stigma. I think you've seen it from the skits here. You find the young ones, when they are coming, they don't want to come to the facilities. They have that fear. In case I go to this facility and meet with my neighbor, in case I go to this facility, meet with my mother, in case I go to this facility and meet with somebody who knows me, she will go and discuss me outside there. So we try our best to address this issue of fear and stigma. This is because when they come, actually in most of facilities, We are even identifying them from the queue and giving them the first priority, so that they don't have to queue with others. They don't have to wait there, waiting for long hours like any other client. They have special need, and you agree with me, these young ones have special need. It is not easy for them to open to each one of us, but when they identify with you, they will open, they will share their stories, they will call you anytime. Actually, like me, they call me even as late as 9 p.m. Nasteri, we have this and this issue, so I'm able to identify, I'm able to link them to our services, I'm able to link them to our private, both private and public facilities within Nairobi, where they are able to access these services. Thank you.
Let me ask you a follow-up question. You mentioned there are some facilities that are open 24 hours.
Yes.
Can you tell us which ones?
We have facilities that are offering 24-hour services. Like you go to Ruaraka, you can go to Mathare North.
Ah.
Yes, you can go to Kahawa West. You can get services. Even after 6 p.m., you are able to get services, and especially you never miss a nurse who will give you counseling and give you the way forward, direct you to a place where you can get the right services.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
That's good to know. 24 hours. I'm impressed. No, I'm the only one who's impressed at 24-hour medical service. So thanks for that. Bruce, I'm glad you're here, because frequently when we talk about contraception and sexual reproductive health, we're talking to women. And we set our targets based on women, because it's true we bear the heavier load when it comes to the consequences of poor decision making in this area. So I'm glad you're here. There seems to be also an element of shame that Mwanahawa and Nasteri have alluded to but not fully said. Like, why are we scared to look for this information? It's not a bad thing. Humans have sex. It's what we do, don't we? Isn't that what adults do? So why is it that somehow it's shrouded in shame? Which now leads me to my question to you, Bruce. Young people are tech savvy. How does that impact your experience with accessing SRHR information and also services?
All right, so thank you very much. My name is Bruce. I'm from Black Coffee Networks. I'm grateful to DSW and Bayer for this platform. And without further ado, I'll go directly to the question. So young people being tech savvy, that's a plus, because phones, young people, majority in Kenya, they have phones. So, and when they access internet, or rather technology, it ensures a safe space whereby they can access services and information without being prejudiced, without being judged. It ensures a safe space. That is one. Two, there's confidentiality, because it is you with your phone. So there's not a third party around. And something else is that when you are assured that your confidentiality is taken care of course that reduces stigma and the fear of being judged. So it ensures a lot of things. And that's the positive side. On the negative side, I think technology, it has a lot of negative things. Things like Mwanahawa alikuwa ametaja earlier on that. The technology, it's so vast, it has a lot of information. So this information is not limited, and some of it is from untrusted sources. So technology, if it is not limited, or rather young people, they cannot access the correct and accurate information from credible sources, that's a challenge. Yeah.
Okay. And what would you like to see on a digital platform on reproductive health that's targeted towards young people, not women, young people?
Oh, okay. I'll go for something that is, it ensures confidentiality, and it is easy to navigate, easy to use. Doesn't have to be that complex. Something that a young person who is not that much learned, or rather learned, it can be used.
So simple language.
Yeah, simple language, simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go for something that is, it provides correct and accurate information, something that the young people, they can rely and equally. And I'll go for something that is, it includes experts, or rather, a young person, when he accesses such a platform, he can learn something, or rather, he can be engaged from somebody who has experience like Nasteri. and offer something like a follow-up, and some questions you cannot access. Okay, you cannot ask Google.
Right.
Zingine, Google cannot answer. But if at all there's a platform that it has somebody that can engage on a personal level with you, that will be something very nice. And then I'll go for something that is youth-friendly. It has youth-friendly content. It doesn't have to be, it has a lot of jargons, just youth-friendly, easily accessible, a safe space, whereby you feel safe, you feel not judged.
You feel understood, like you're talking to a peer. I like the language on this site, like even the campaign, Life Yangu, Life ni kujipanga. You know, I like the wording. You know, it's clear. I'm too old for it, but but I like the wording. Nasteri, how does the use of digital solutions facilitate or improve service delivery within the facilities, within these facilities?
Thank you. I believe in time management. So when these young people access this information through various net systems, they come being informed. So they come, awareness has already been created. So we utilize the shortest time that we have together to just narrow down and speak on a specific contraceptive.
Oh, you're not starting from scratch?
Yeah, we are not starting from scratch because they already know. They come when they're already informed.
Okay.
So when they come, I'll take the shortest time possible so that we are able to narrow down. These days we have what we are calling the balanced strategy counseling system. This is where I'll narrow specific to the information that you require. The information that you've come with, you are specific on this specific method. Let's take, for example, you want an insertion of a Jadel. So I don't have to display all the methods there, talk about IUCDs, talk about the depot, talk about pills. I'll narrow down to the specific information that you require as an individual. So we call the balanced counseling strategy. This is whereby when the young ones come, they have the information or they require, so I'm able to specific address the issues that they have. The other thing we say, data communicates. Data is everything. Information is power. So when we narrow down to specific, we are able to come out with quality data. We are able to come out with quality information that will help us in even policy making, coming out with guidelines, policies that they are able to guide the healthcare worker. I know there's a heated debate like right now, but we are able to come out with a framework using this data that we've generated so that we are able to be guided as healthcare workers on provision of quality services within Nairobi County.
Okay, thank you. Mwanahawa, what other ways can technology be used to, can technology be enhanced for the youth to access SRHR information?
Okay, so there are very many ways where we can enhance technology to ensure access to sexual reproductive health information, but I'll just mention some of them and I'll maybe leave the rest to my fellow youths who have, among the young people who have any other suggestions. So the number one platform, I think all of us will concur with me that if we're gonna use TikTok, then within a snap, the sexual reproductive health information will have reached thousands and even millions of young people. Am I right? Yes. So TikTok will be the number one platform for this because it's where the world is trending right now. That is where all the kind of information that you need, all the kinds of fun, all the kind of information, whatever you need will be found on TikTok. So I think that is one of the best way we can enhance technology. Number two is using sexual reproductive health digital games. I'm thinking how fun would it be if I am to play maybe something like, the Sugar Crush. If I am to be taken step by step, but then we are using sexual reproductive health content. For instance, if I'm to answer question A, will take me to step B. If I'm to answer step B, it will take me to question C. And each time I answer maybe the correct answer, I am to be presented with a token, for instance. Won't it be fun? It would. So that is one of the ways we can also use technology for enhancement of sexual reproductive health information and services. And another way is using the webtoon. Webtoon is something like the Shujas. You know, the books that we used to read that used to be drawn vibonzo, and they have short stories like that they're having a conversation, but at the end of it, there is a lesson learned, right? So if we are going to be using a webtoon, which we can all be conversant with, then I think that is also another way to go about it. And next one is using podcasts. Podcast is, for instance, I am to record a voice note, maybe explaining something about implant and my experience for it, and maybe how the quality of services I get from the facility, how the nurse treated me. You know, we get to have a community where we interact as young people. We get to have like a safe space online. We do have different WhatsApp groups, different platforms where we engage, but how if we found one full website for maybe countrywide or even worldwide, where we can just log in anytime, air out my views, or if I have something to say, just send like an audio, you know, and it will be stuck there such that any other person at their own free time can come and access it. Yeah. So the last point, just to finish it off, let us not forget that we should include the differently abled. We call them differently abled, right? We should make sure that this platform, whatever technology we are going to use, we remember that we have the differently abled people. And we have to include them because they are part of us, they're part of our community, and they also require these services.
Okay, thanks, Mwanahawa. You're not done talking. The next question is coming to you. What more can we do to improve access to sexual reproductive health and rights information and services here in Kenya? And the question really is to the whole panel, but we'll start with you, Mwanahawa.
It's okay. So the sexual reproductive health, how to improve sexual reproductive health information and services in our country. Okay, first I'd like to start with the aspect of donor funding. We know that come next year, 2023, all the donors that, or let me say most of the donors that are funding maybe family planning and contraceptives program will be pulling out, or will be stepping back. So we'll be left with our government and CSOs and different partners to come in and chip in for this gap that will be left. Because for sure, we need to ensure that this program are running 24 hours. We need to make sure that young people, not at any point in time, are able to access sexual reproductive health services and information. We are able to find, we are able to inquire for any questions that we have. We are able to uptake any kind of method that we want. So the increase in sexual reproductive health domestic funding needs to come in and fill in the gap that will be left by the donor funding. Point number 2 is we have to incorporate youth-friendly services at facilities. We have youth-friendly center, youth-friendly services policy and guidelines. I have to believe that we are all conversant with it, and it clearly states out that the there are supposed to be at least 2 youth-friendly centers per each sub-county. So
per sub-county?
Per sub-county, wow. Right. So we need to, because these are safe spaces for the youth. These are safe spaces for us as young people where we get to interact, we get to come one-on-one with a youth-friendly service provider. You know, we have to set aside this safe space.
Okay, Mwanahawa, I'm going to cut you off. I was about to call you Mwanaisha. Mwanahawa, I'm going to cut you off because we're running out of time and I need to hear from the other panelists. Bruce, the question is, what more can we do to improve access to SRHR information and services here in Kenya?
So in addition to what Mwanahawa has contributed, I would like to add that we in Kenya we lack, we have an limited trained personnel who can offer youth-friendly services. So if we have young service providers who are well trained on SRHR and they can offer youth-friendly services, that can be good. Again, if at all we establish a safe space whereby we can, young people, they can access this reproductive health information and services, that will be a plus. Ensuring that young people are at the centers.
Okay.
At the center of youth-focused SRHR programming. So youth engagement, meaningful youth participation, youth is supposed to be engaged in every level of programs.
Okay.
Starting from the decision making, going to the implementation, monitoring and evaluation and learning. We are supposed to be involved in every programmatic level. Something else supposed to be actively involved, especially male involvement. I think that will be good because we normally say that sex is for two people, it's not only for one person. True. So if at all we bring on board male involvement, that will be good.
Okay, okay, thank you, Bruce. And Nasteri, I'll give you just 1 point, 1 point.
Thank you. Nairobi County, as I said, is large with many sub-counties. Through our sub-county director, through the county director, there's the county reproductive head, Kiambati, we've organized for many trainings, capacity building among the staffs, so that we are able to scale up these services. So we train, we do what we call CMEs, those are continuous medical educations. We do what we call OJTs within the facility, or job training. I'm able to go to a facility, take 5 staffs, coach them on skills that will capacity build them to insert long-term methods, IUCDs, insert JADELs, and give information to the young ones. Do counseling and give the right information. Then before I'm given another minute, I'm requesting for another minute, I feel there's also need for multi-sectoral collaboration. The health ministry cannot work it alone, so we need to come up as various sectors, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Youth, all of us, we come together, put our hands together, discuss on the way forward, so that we are able to offer quality services to our young one in all sectors. I'm also feeling that I should also address the issue of the myths and the misconception, and especially among the young people. They discuss so many things outside there that are not true. So it is always good when you come to the facility, we are able to address these myths and misconceptions, so that when you go back to the community, when you go back to the peers, you are able to also to give the right information. We are also involving the peer educators in our facilities.
Yes. Okay. Thank you so much to all of you, Mwanahawa, Bruce, and Nasteri. And Nasteri, I love what you said about collaboration and multi-sectoral. You know, you work together, Ministry of Education and whatever, which is exactly what we are doing today, thanks to DSW and also to Bea. And we've talked about, you know, there's a dire need. The youth have said, this is where we are. These are the hindrances to us accessing this information and these products. So it's time to hear from Life Yangu. And as we clear out the seats, I'm going to invite the head of global healthcare programs in Middle Africa, Mildred Nada Peter, to tell us more about Life Yangu. A round of applause, please. They spoke so well and quickly. Thank you. In the interest of time, thank you. Thank you. Let's welcome Mildred to the stage, Mildred Nada Peter.
Good morning, everyone. Please allow me to stand on existing protocol because there have been quite a number of people who have come in since we started. Karibu. So, a brief story on how Life Yangu came to be. I think for us as a team, it is a very emotional day because it has been a long journey getting here. In 2020, at the peak of COVID crisis globally, and then of course here in Kenya, we had the World Contraception Day, which is celebrated when? Somebody, when do we celebrate World Contraception Day? Young people? I can't hear you. September 26th, thank you. It was a Saturday, I remember very well. And while partners gathered, Ministry of Health, NGOs, donors, youth, religious bodies, cultural leaders, the CSA for Health challenged all of us. And she said, if I pick up my phone and I want a Tusker, I would easily see the nearest place where I can find a Tusker. How many of you can tell me if you pick up your phones, you can see the nearest healthcare center that provides services for young people online? And she asked us to bring out our phones. And of course, we were still struggling. And she said, this is the challenge I give to you as partners. We want young people to know where the health centers are, the kinds of services that are there, and how they can access those services. And as a company buyer, we took it upon ourselves to take up this challenge and see how we can support all the activities of the government and the partners to see how we can provide these services for young people. We then started searching within the NGO space which youth organization that is active on the field can give support and continue. Because as a company, we're talking about sustainability. You'll hear it from my boss when he does give his speech, and the focus that we have in ensuring that young people are catered for. So, Bayer and DSW agreed that there was a need that needed to be filled within the digital space. It wasn't only about information, but also a GPS system of sort that allows young people to know as soon as they Google or while they are on this digital platform, the nearest health center to them. Life Yangu was born. We brought in a local partner that helped to build this platform. In the process, a lot of research was done, focus groups were built, young people had their voice. Because you cannot give something to a young person as a solution. They always tell us, especially in the FP space, if it's not by us, it's not for us. Their voices were heard. What you will see is the voices of the youth, their ideas. These young people are creative. These young people are innovative. These young people are very, very intelligent. And we built this brand with them. And we have come thus far, a couple of months, I would say. But please allow me to just recognize a few people who have made this happen. Can I see the Pulse team? Please stand and wave. I want to show you our appreciation, led by the MD Wamuyu, local team, local brain, local content, building local solutions for Kenya. Thank you. Thank you very much. The DSW team, I think their director will do justice to them. They are partners. But also, allow me to recognize our colleagues within Bayer. It takes a village to build anything, like you would imagine. Most of them are sitting in the back, led by the country commercial lead, Ibrahim Kasim. Please stand. The Bayer team, Helen, I see all of you behind. John, Matheka, Anthony, Sarah, thank you so much. It has been hours and hours of work to get here. And we sincerely hope that this platform will serve young people, that this platform will serve even health facilities, help health workers to direct easily young people. Information is here, it's discreet, it's reliable information, it's vetted information. I encourage you to encourage your peers to look through Life Yangu, because Life Yangu is for you. I thank you for your presence this morning. Please be seated. I would not say much so that at least I'll keep the anticipation as we reveal this platform. Thank you very much.
We have a video revealing the brand that's about to be played. I don't get on stage. Again, articulating the need that Life Yangu.
I am very certain most of us who are in this room didn't get sex education from school, from parents. We just had to find it out by ourselves. So probably you are doing all the wrong things. And we're talking about sexual health.
It's really very cruel what we do to young people. We deny them information on their sexuality, then we deny them access to any kind of products, any kind of education that can make a difference, and then if and when they make a mistake, we judge them harshly. We judge them so harshly, and if you're a young woman who got pregnant, sometimes even your family throws you away. So this is a very, very exciting platform that we're launching today. And Rosemary Muganda Onyando is the Regional Advocacy Director, Africa for PATH, and she's also the chair of the board of HENET, which is the Health NGOs Network. And we're about to hear from Rosemary Muganda. Please make your way to the stage. Can we please clap for her as she makes her way to the stage? And she has contributed directly to several policies and laws related to reproductive and maternal health in Kenya, and has been engaged in specific health-related issues at regional and even global levels. Let's put our hands together again for Rosemary. Please make your way to the podium. Yes, we need to get your audio for NTV. I see a mic for NTV and also for the streaming. Please do not forget, we're still tweeting. We are live tweeting, and our hashtag is Life Yangu. So when you hear something insightful, provokes a thought, don't hesitate, just share. That's what Twitter is for, okay? Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning again. It's always exciting to be in a room talking about this issue and have more than 3/4 of the audience be the intended audience. Often when we sit to talk about reproductive health, we normally have more adults in the room. So this is really encouraging. So young people, how are you behind there? I can't hear you. Thank you. Now, I want to assume all protocols observed. As you've heard, my name is Rosemary Muganda. I work for PATH. I support advocacy and public policy work in the region, but I am also honored to be the current chair of the Health NGOs Network of Kenya, HENET, chair of the board. Now, I'm looking at the room now and I see people I would call oldies. If you see us lifting our glasses this way, you know we've been doing this work for a while. And I'd like to just mention some of them. I see Dr. George Rai sitting over there. Yes, and I see, I'm doing this for a very specific reason. So Valentine, I'll request for 2 additional minutes. And I see Pamela Onduso over there. Now, there may be other people who fall in the same league as those two. The reason why I've mentioned those two is because for decades, we've been talking about the issues we are talking about now. And these two people are some of the pioneers of the work on adolescent sexual reproductive health and rights. And they led studies, they've been involved in advocacy. The development of the first adolescent sexual reproductive health policy took us a long time. It took 10 years to get a policy in place. And so I'm happy to see when we are gathered here today, these are some of the fruits and the benefits of that fight that took place a long time ago. So why is it important for us to be gathered here today? It is important, particularly for civil society organizations, because a lot of our members implement activities for adolescents and young people. Civil society organizations represented by HENET, the Health NGOs Network, are critical players and stakeholders in the implementation of vital programs on SRH, particularly information and services. And we know from the work we do on the ground at national and sub-national levels, we've seen the impact of inadequate information, inaccurate information, irrelevant information to young people in the country. And we know that young people, not just in this country, but in other parts of this region, face significant challenges in the transition to adulthood. They neither have the tools nor the information they need to make a smooth transition. As Valentine said, we block, we do not facilitate access to information, and when they suffer the adverse consequences, we do not have the services. Or if we do, they are offered in a context that is not friendly to young people. And then we judge as society. So we've seen from unintended pregnancies, STIs, to HIV infections, maternal health issues when young people give birth too early without the required services. The impact, we know, is far-reaching, not just for the individuals, but also for their families, the community, and our country. It is therefore really, really important that we find solutions, and that those solutions are designed to take into account the context and the circumstances of young people. We cannot emphasize this enough, because often when we design activities for young people, we actually do not take into account their circumstances. And that's why a lot of those interventions fail. So it is really, really critical that we design interventions that take into account the context and the circumstances of young people, that they are fit for context and they are fit for purpose. And I was really impressed when I read about this intervention, because digital solutions, given our current global context, are one of the most appropriate ways to reach young people. As HENET, we've embraced this, and some of our members have recently been involved in the launch of a digital platform that allows people to access information, although the focus of that digital platform has been on social accountability. With the use of such a platform, the plan then is to offer young people a chance to learn about their sexuality, to learn about reproductive health and well-being without judgment. And you saw the young people here mentioning that if they had access to a platform where they could access information without meeting their mother's age mates and people from the mother's union in their neighborhood, that would be the best fit for them. And we also, when young people are also able to access information this way through a platform such as this, they are not afraid to seek information, they're not afraid to ask questions, and they'll be able to find links to the right services that they need. Such a platform also offers young people the space to interact with that information, to find out where the services are available, and be confident enough to know what to expect before they go to the service. That tool is online. That the tool is online is also an important aspect, because you know that a lot of young people in this country have access to a mobile device. So having this digital tool that is available on a mobile platform as well is extremely useful. And they have access to the internet. Echoing the words of Dr. Mwangangi, a Chief Administrative Secretary, she, during 2020 World Contraceptive Day celebration, she did say this. She emphasized the need to leverage these opportunities that are presented by the internet to make the information reach young people with whom we work, or for whom these interventions are intended. This is especially since we know that the internet can be a pool of information, some good, others downright inaccurate and incorrect. Such conflicting and competing information makes it difficult for youth to get the information they need about their reproductive health and general well-being. But with a centralized platform such as this one, we know that those kinds of challenges will be reduced. Such a platform can enhance civil society programming on sexual reproductive health, providing knowledge on the kind of information designed, targeted to young people, to help and to fill the gap, the information gap that needs to be filled. In addition, as a youth-friendly digital resource, and I think we need to emphasize the youth-friendliness. As a youth-friendly digital resource, it will empower young people to make decisions and fully participate in their lives. It also enhances a coordinated approach in programming, guiding various CSOs to recommend the platform to their beneficiaries. We would like to congratulate DSW and Bayer for the work that they've done in coming up with this important platform. I want to say something here. When I think of Bayer, and excuse me for saying this, I think of pharmaceuticals, and I think of agriculture. I'm a farmer. I hardly ever think of this. So the reason why I'm stressing this is it shows the importance of having private sector companies coming together with civil society and government so that the issues affecting young people are tackled together. So this is important. So thank you to Bayer for venturing into this, and DSW for making this important step. We also acknowledge the importance of partnerships and investments in efforts that put young people at the center of solutions to problems that affect them. I think this is really, really important. If you want to fail when you design activities for young people, do it without their input, do it without them. So in conclusion, I want to say that we hope to see more of such partnerships, and this is a challenge not just to Bayer, but the other people, to expand the reach and scale of this work so that we may be able to reach more people, not just in this country, but in this region. So thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you. I think we'll leave the microphone here. Can we also give her another round of applause? And thank you for keeping time, Rosemary. It is impossible to do something like this and do it well without including government. Private facilities, the private sector only reaches about 30% of our young people when it comes to SRHR. The rest of it falls to government. So of course, we are, we have to include government, we have to collaborate with them, we have to follow their rules. And Pauline Oginga, Chief Pauline Oginga, I just double checked that. That is actually her name, Chief Pauline Oginga, is the Chief Officer, Public Health from Mombasa County, and she'll be speaking to us representing all county governments. Aha, that's who you are. So earlier we had a funny interaction. I started acting last year. I don't know if you've seen me on Njorowa Uber. So earlier when I said hi to Pauline, she said, Wewe, Njorowa Uber. And I was like, that's not what you expect in this kind of formal setting. So good to meet you and welcome, Pauline.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. When I saw her, when I walked in, like, I've seen that face, I've seen that face. I've seen that face, then I remembered that episode from JKI on Jorowa Uber. Like, yeah, she's the one. You know, for us who come from Mombasa, when you come to Nairobi, we dress like Eskimos. So you just understand when you see us with all these turtlenecks and jackets and everything, because for us, we are freezing. Good morning, everyone. First and foremost, I really want to appreciate everyone who is here. It's always good to be around youth. You know, when you're around youth, you start thinking about your children. Then there's normally that energy around the house. I want to appreciate DSW. We've worked so well with DSW in Mombasa County over years. And I remember anytime I don't see a lady walking around with big camera, I asked around, is Judy around this place? Because she would always walk around with a very big camera. And I told her, you know, for a lady, you're not supposed to walk around with such a huge camera. And she said, you know, this captures everything. So DSW has played a critical role in Mombasa County, one in advocacy, policy formulation, and review of performance. When we started off, we used to develop policies, develop guidelines and regulations on our own and push it down. But there's no ownership from the youth. So over a period of time, we sat down and started asking ourselves where we're going wrong. So the first thing we did as Mombasa County is we created a unit specifically for gender-based violence, adolescent and young people, and appointed a coordinator. And she's here with me, Selina. Yeah. So through that, we are able now to focus on issues affecting young people. And we've seen great or tremendous improvement on that aspect. One of those is whenever we are developing our annual work plan, we have representation of youth. Whenever we are doing our performance review, we have our youth on board. When we are developing our program, our budgets, the program-based budgeting, we always have youth sitting with Selina, and we give them their ceiling in the budget, the activities together. So then now we task them in the responsibility of making sure that we succeed. The other thing we did is, I had someone say here that we're supposed to have 2 youth-friendly centers per sub-county. So we came up with 6 because we have 6 sub-counties. In this year's plan, we've added an additional of 6. We're planning to have another 6. But we are talking about functionality. It's just not having the 2 per sub-county. So we developed a tool and did an assessment of the existing youth-friendly centers to look at both the demand and supply side and see where the gaps are. And immediately after that assessment, it was followed by a training of the service providers and the youth who work in those centers, just to see how we could improve on quality of services in those youth-friendly centers. So we are trying to make sure the operationalization is up to the standard. Having said that, when we heard about the digital platform and were approached by DSW, to me it was a blessing in disguise. Why? Because from where I sit, I'll be able to know the utilization of our facilities through that platform. I'll know exactly why I'll have to ask my people, how comes your facility is not being utilized by these youth? Is it because of the quality of services? Is it because of stockouts? Is it because, what is it that is just not attracting these people to your facility? Because in Mombasa, 60% of our population are youth. So whether we like it or not, we have to serve the population. Over a period of time, and when the acting was taking place here, the nurse, when she spoke, I said, yes, this is a representation of what goes on. Because when youth walk into our facilities, we see our children. We do not see clients. We look at them, and instead of counseling on the services that are supposed to be provided, we give pep talks. Yeah? When they ask for services, we start talking to them. Why do you want to have family planning service? Why are you sexually active? You know you're still too young. You know you're supposed to be in school. Yeah? You're not supposed to do ABCD. It's because of the mindset we have. And to answer someone's question here who said that people do not want to talk matter sex, you know, the generations are different. And when you bring up teenagers, you realize they're absolutely different. The way my son talks to me is not the way I talk to my mother. When my mother looks at me at this age, I still coil. You know, our mothers used to talk through their eyes, the expressions. She looks at you and you can read a paragraph. You know, like she said A, B, C, D. You keep quiet. But then your child can talk at you now or talk to you, and you're like, where did this one really come from? You know, they express themselves better than us. I cannot sit down now and start talking to my mother about relationship. But my son the other day, I asked him, what's so wrong with you? Why are you so look depressed? And he said, you know, Mom, this matters. Then I said, but if you are dumped, accept and move on. And you know, I was just fishing. And he said, you know, do you know how painful it is? Then I looked at him and said, oh, so you are dumped. You're really being dumped. Who is this lady who's dumped you? Yeah? So the generations are absolutely different. We have to embrace that. We have to talk about it. But we can only address this through the healthcare systems we are giving. So one of the reasons why I embrace this is, for me, I'll be able to know utilization of the facilities. The other thing is our youth are getting these contraceptives over counter. And we did a small survey and realized that most of our youth, because of one reason or the other, they prefer sending someone or going over counter to get these services. It's pretty easy. Nobody cancels them. Nobody asks them the reason why they're getting these services. They just buy. The other person is willing buyer, willing seller. So we want, through this platform, we'll be able to bring them back to the health facilities where they'll be able to get good services, get the correct information, be able to track and monitor and really determine whether the services they're getting is as per the regulations or guideline laid out by Ministry of Health. The other thing that this platform is going to help us with is improve on the quality of services we're giving in these facilities. Over a period of time, people have always said, when you walk into government institutions, there's a lot of attitude and everything else. So we sat down when we had a meeting with DSW and talked with our people, because right now we are rolling out the universal healthcare coverage in our counties, and Mombasa is one of the counties piloting this. So we said it is a matter of ambience and quality that will make people come to your facilities. But we want to incorporate this in this platform such that when we are giving services, we cannot match the private facilities in terms of infrastructure, but we can match them in terms of ambience and in terms of the quality of services we are giving. And we are trying as much as possible to avoid issues of someone coming and they're told there's stockouts. If you do a survey in the facilities, you realize most of the youth prefer injectable. Why? Because of confidentiality and privacy. They just go, they get the injection and go away. They don't need to pop the pills and take on a daily basis. So as a county, we are looking forward to using this platform for various issues, including for policy formulations, guidelines for formulations. When we are doing our budget, we want to use the data that we get from this platform to inform some of the activities or priority areas that we are going to budget for. We want to see the county assembly embrace this, and I'm grateful through DSW, we have a very good working relationship with the county assembly health committee, that we sit and discuss performance matters, reproductive health for youth. We'll be able to, we've shared with them the costed family planning plans. And I know there's a lot of passion around this cohort, so we'll be able to use this platform also to advocate, because we've been talking about ring-fencing of funds for family planning. So through the data that we're going to generate here, and someone talked about the dwindling of funds, we all know that Kenya is currently towards the tail end of the transition. So basically, one of the programs that is greatly affected is family planning. So we want to see how we can sustain the gains and also sustain the performances that we've been having through budgetary allocation. And we can only do this when we have data from such kind of platforms. So I really want to appreciate all those who put their heads together, who even thought about this in the first place, coming up with such a platform, because you know, like I said, the youth, they're totally different from us, they're techno-savvy, so it's they stick to their phones. And if they can get an opportunity where they just log into their phones and know the services being offered in facilities around them, and give us a feedback on the quality of services they're getting from these facilities, for us it's a plus. We'll be able to improve on the healthcare system or healthcare services that we're giving. My request is just one, is to be able to have an opportunity to get a feedback from that platform, because that will be beneficial for the county. It is through such kind of feedback that we're able to know exactly what kind of services we are giving. It is through those kind of feedback that we'll be able to prioritize our budgetary allocation and also see where the gaps are in our healthcare system and seal. So without much ado, I thank you so much, everyone, for speaking so much, and looking forward for more engagement. Thank you.
Chief Pauline Oginga, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm very excited about what government is doing. I didn't even know that they were thinking about ambience. Did you know our government was thinking about ambience for the youth? I'm stunned, quite frankly. We don't think of government and ambience in the same sentence. So I'm excited. I wish I was younger, because I'm like, these young people, access to information, people are thinking about ambience and their experience when they walk in. When is the first time you heard about contraception? When's the first time someone actually spoke to you about contraception and the options available? I was already a mother. I think they were late. I was already a mom. And that when the first time a medical professional actually spoke to me about contraception. So it's great that young people will have this information right here within their hands, on their handheld devices. Very, very exciting. We're about to hear from a woman who is an expert with over 20 years of experience, drawn from working with civil society and also government. She has hands-on experience in human rights-based approaches, program design and management, community organizing and policy advocacy, and she's also a trainer in human rights, gender, and participatory methodologies, and has vast experience in governance work. Who is this woman? She is the country director, for DSW Kenya. Let us all welcome Evelyn Samba.
Good morning again. I'm really grateful to be standing before all of you this morning on this very, very important event in the life of DSW work, but more so in the life of our young people. And I am really pleased that the panel that was so ably moderated has said everything that we needed to say concerning the challenge we're trying to address. The young girl who came before even the panel was very eloquent. She spoke about the things that she experiences in her, in her neighborhood without pretensions. That was her. That was her reality. And if we do nothing else this morning, let's take that feedback from her and understand that this platform should indeed meet her at her point of need. From Mombasa, we have heard the concerns that young people have. And thank you, Chief Pauline, for speaking so well about the work that we have been doing together. And so, in designing this platform, I would like to then draw us back to what Mildred said and the challenge that was posed to us in 2020 by the CAS then. And I think if you reflect on what it is that the CAS asked us to do and the things that the young people have said, then your hope would be that this platform is really the solution that we are hoping to have. So we took on that challenge, and I would like to ask my colleagues from DSW to just quickly stand up wherever you are, because these are the people who are at the back of the design, the discussions, the consultations, and all the conversations that went on so that we have a product today. My colleagues, where are you? Draw in a little. You need to stand out. Okay? This is the team from DSW, supported so well ably by Pulse, by Bayer, and young people, because you will also know that we consulted them. They already told us, if we are not in it, that's not ours. So they went out, had discussions with them, and asked them, if you were to resolve this challenge, what would you imagine your solution to look like? So the thing that we will be unveiling today is a creation of the inspiration of young people, articulated by the DSW staff, and given flesh and life by the technical people from Pulse. Thank you, my colleagues. So, in responding to that challenge by the CAS then, we started asking ourselves, what would the solution look like? And I'm happy to say that we designed a product that we hope would really meet the test of time. And please let us remember that that challenge was provided at the backdrop of COVID-19. At the height of it, September 26th of 2020, we were how many months into COVID? That was when we were all running around. Work from home, do not this, do that, stay away, keep this. So you can imagine in that kind of context, even service provision was significantly challenged. And so while there was all that confusion, I dare say COVID-19 also opened our eyes to possibilities. Because that is the time now we were realizing you can actually do a lot more online. You can do a lot more without necessarily leaving your home. You don't have to go to the office to do this. But of course, for service providers, they might have a different answer to that problem, because while you could go online and get the information, at some point you needed to make a step and go to a facility. So all those struggles were existing when that challenge was provided, and therefore in taking up the challenge provided for DSW, we're asking what would that solution look like. And therefore we hope that in unveiling this product today, you will see a digital solution that is simple, accessible, and easy to find, a platform that aims at reducing the pressure points for young people, and they've said it here, as they look for information about their reproductive health, and a space where they find accurate. Please, let's take note of that, accurate and appropriate, because young people today, as has been said, they have numerous opportunities to access any and all information, but is it correct? Is it accurate? So we are hopeful that our solution today gives them that niche, gives them that added advantage, that you're not just looking for information, but you're getting the information that is accurate, that has been endorsed by the government through the Ministry of Health, WHO, and all the experts that we know, and that their questions and concerns will be answered in a private way. The answer is in their palm. The answer is in their hands. And we hope that then that will deal away with the problem of stigma, judgmental attitudes, suspicion, and all of the things that they've talked about. But it's also important for me to mention that digital solutions work best with in-person sessions. And I think Nasteri talked about that. That's why we collaborated with the county governments to map out facilities. so that young people can get the necessary services closest to them. It's not enough to go online and find what options exist, but then where are they being provided? And when you go there, do they find the worker who is also in the right spirit, in the same knowledge and understanding of the issue that the young person is struggling with? So we are thankful deeply, really, to the county governments, the county government of Kisumu, the county government of Mombasa, for taking up that challenge with us and saying we trust in your intention. Because it was a matter of trust, really. Saying, okay, if you think that will work, we are willing to give it a shot. So thank you. We are convinced that it will be the solution that we are looking for. We are looking very much forward to when we'll be able to scale it up to all the other counties and bring on board many, many young people who will therefore be able to access information and services. We are also grateful that you have opened yourselves up to getting feedback, as Chief Pauline has asked, that they want then to hear from us and the users of that platform, what is working in my facility? What is working in my county? What do I need to improve? But I'd like to also say that we will have more work on our hands to make sure that every young Kenyan can access the Life Yangu platform. The struggle of data, the struggle of internet connectivity. Yes, it is widely covered now, but how many of our young people can actually take time long enough on that site without having to start worrying about the bundles they're using? So therefore, we are also inviting stakeholders, service providers who would help us to make this site affordable and accessible by reducing the costs, and we are in conversations with key providers to make sure that this actually is dealt away with. We also want to ask that our young people are going to be supportive of others and inform their peers so that they can then direct traffic to those sites and make it really vibrant, that then we will see the vibrancy of the website translating into services being provided in the facilities. It is our duty as stakeholders to do right by young people in our country. In facilitating their access to accurate and appropriate SRH information and services, we will be offering them a chance to take control of their sexual and reproductive health. This way, they would be in a position to participate fully in dignified life. So I want to thank, again, the county governments present, but I also want to thank even more the guest of honor this morning. As he comes to speak, I know he will be then indicating to us the commitment that the counties have demonstrated to us, but also as he's flanked by others from other county departments. I know the youth department, state department is also here. I know the Ministry of Education is also present. This tells you that this is a matter that should then receive an all-round kind of approach. That when you're talking to young children, when you're talking to youth who have finished school, you're talking about them as young people who are progressing into the labor market. You're talking to young people who require life skills out there to be able to make a living. And therefore, we are happy and gratified this morning that we are as we are this morning, including everyone who needed to be in this conversation. I know NCPD is also present, and we trust and appreciate the support you give us. We are looking forward to working much more closely with the county governments across this country, but also with all other stakeholders. And Baya, thank you ever so much for making this possible for us. And we are trustful that beyond here, we will now be asking how better can we make this platform for young people. I thank you.
Evelyn Samba, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There's a man with 28 years of experience, and he flew in last night specifically for this event. That's how much it matters to Bayer. Frank Strello is the head of sustainability at Bayer Pharmaceuticals, and he took over the position in 2018, in July of 2018, and his department is operating multiple international programs in the context of access to medicine and social business initiatives in the areas of neglected tropical diseases, family planning, and non-communicable diseases. Let's all welcome Dr. Frank Strello to the stage.
Thank you, Valentine, and good morning, everybody. Dear Chief Dr. Rai, dear Chief Ms. Odinga, Ms. Muganda, Ms. Evelyn Samba, colleagues from Bayer back there, from the local affiliate, colleagues from my African team, colleagues which traveled with me from Berlin last night, dear representatives of civil society organizations, dear young people here in the room, and everybody listening and watching online. And with that protocol, you see how many people it takes to make this happen. And this is one of the very important things I would like to point out today. I would also like to take the opportunity to give you a short overview why Bayer is engaged here and where do we come from and what we are looking for in that context. You know, Bayer as a company and with a legacy of the company Schering, also located in Berlin, where now the headquarters of Bayer Pharmaceuticals is located, we have a long legacy on women's health, and particular family planning and contraception. It goes back to the year 61 when the company first developed the first oral contraceptive pill, and only a few years later we were already engaged in supporting USAID and then United Nations, UNFPA, by providing as a supplier contraceptives at cost, taking that part as a social responsibility activity. The 60s, you know, my youth, a little bit, so long time ago, and life has changed so much since these years. Everybody of us who can see that. And it's always nice when my kids asking me, how was that when television was black and white, you know, or the world was black and white, actually. At Bayer, at least everybody who has a little bit of legacy with the company is very, very proud of what we're doing in family planning and women's health, because it has been part of our DNA for so many decades. And it has developed. So 3 years back, just at the time when I took over that position, we stepped up our entire sustainability activities. That had to do, indeed, Rosemary mentioned that, with our engagement in agriculture. Because having a major acquisition, we became aware that society is expecting responsibility from us, responsible behavior. That society, civil society, public society, governments, patients, customers, they ask companies to take their responsibility for the planet and also for the health of their patients. So by stepping up, we ask ourselves, what can we do with this strong legacy in family planning? What can we do more? Are we doing enough already? And the answer was, obviously not. We have some quite obvious things we can do. At that time when I started, I saw that the orders coming in from civil society organizations and from UNFPA and ministries of health were always with a long lead time, because our supply capacity was not enough. So the first thing to do was to decide, yes, we need to build a new factory. We have to invest into that in terms of getting more products available, particularly for the long-acting contraceptives. That's what we did, quite a commitment with more than $150 million of investment. And I have to say, this is all for the social business, which means we sell at cost, and this is not for the profit. When we started thinking about that, we said, okay, when we provide more products or make it available, not only to the Western world, but also at a global scale, we might ramp up the number of patients we can support, the number of users we can support, from today about 40 million women using Bayer's contraceptives in a year to maybe 70, perhaps, by closing that supply gap. But supply is not everything, of course. So we have to think about what goes beyond that. And at that very point in time, my colleagues from agriculture said, we want to support the smallholder farmers. While making a lot of business with the big farming companies, we want to support smallholder farmers. And we say 100 million smallholder farmers. So I said, okay, I take that challenge. Let's say 100 million women. This is a stretch, and it doesn't go alone with Bayer products. It's not about Bayer products alone. So we have to think about engagement, which is non-biased, non-supplier biased, it's non-donor biased, it's not even provider biased. And that's where we increased our activities together with civil society organizations like DSW, to which we also have a long-standing relationship and a lot of activities already in the past, like Bill and Melinda Gates Institute and others, and stepped up in that area as well, in order to provide more women with the choice for contraception, regardless which product they choose in the end. It should be their choice, and there should be the full range of opportunities and method choice. Digital has always been part of that. And many, many years we were together with the launch of the World Contraception Day. We are supporting global awareness campaigns in different languages. The Your Life campaign is a global web page. Social media is used for the World Contraception Day. That's all good. But what is missing so far, was always missing, was the activation step. Do we know if young people really take an activity after they have been informed on a digital platform? That's very difficult. And so getting the link between awareness, education, and activation was one of my pipe dreams, actually, from the very beginning, to get this done. I believe that Life Yangu is a game changer in that digital world. And we, of course, we did, in our ivory towers in the headquarters of a pharmaceutical company, we did a scan of what's out there on a global scale. So what sort of activities in the digital world are already addressing that? And I always saw that there are a lot of very good activities, but most of them, all of them, are missing one component. They might not be engaging young people enough. They might not be engaging with the local government. They might not be engaging with local people anyhow, but being an ivory tower exercise in Washington or Berlin or wherever in the world. So there are many things which you might miss. And when I check the list, I see that Life Yangu doesn't miss anything. And I'm so excited. I'm very confident this will be a game changer. Ready for scaling up, ready for reaching young people in the country and even beyond. So I have very strong expectations here. And the key thing, I think, one of the most important things is everything has been developed here. Everything has been developed locally with the young people in the country, with the agency, with the civil society organization. And I wish that, I want to say I wish Life Yangu a lot of success, but it's not a wish. I'm confident it will be a success. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, Dr. Strello. Thank you. Another round of applause. The man flew in to give us the speech. And we also have a virtual audience. I don't know if you've been able to look at the stream. Mwana Hawa and Bruce, you have fans online who are commenting and saying they see you, they see you. Jeb Churchill says, great initiative, life kweli ni kujipanga. So thank you for that. If you're watching online, we acknowledge your presence. We're happy that you're with us, and keep the comments coming. And now it's time for our chief guest. Medicine in Kenya all too often comes down to HIV and AIDS care, which we all know is a sexual reproductive health issue. And with this platform, the hands on the ground who will be delivering these services and products will be government hospitals, government clinics. So who better to speak to us than the advisor to the Kisumu governor on universal health coverage, and he's also the chief executive of the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital. Let us all please be upstanding for our chief guest, Dr. George Rai, who is the acting CEC for Health from Kisumu County. Let's welcome him to the stage. Welcome, welcome.
Habari zenu. Karibuni. Welcome and kindly sit down. All protocols observed. I'm trying to find out what that means. We are here. We are in a dialogue. We are here. We are talking about young people. Actually, we are talking about the life of society, right? Is that true or not true? We are talking about the future of the earth. Is that true or not true? There's a saying which is in many cultures, and he said, this world has been lent to us by our children, and we must keep it for them for the future. It's a debt. True? It's a debt. I would like to start with a disclaimer that when you are called to talk at this point, Samba has talked, Rosemary has talked, the global head of DSW has talked, Frank has talked. What else do you say? You repeat what they have said, or you invent new statements? And it's not pretty easy to invent new statements. There is one thing I would like to just put to the audience, the young people who are here and their partners of DSW and Abaya. Why did you not discover Life Yangu 50 years ago? If you did discover that, what would have happened to the world 50 years ago? Why now and not 50 years ago? Well, the easy statement is that you were not there. How many were alive 50 years ago? Raise up your hands. That's why Rosemary referred to the team as the old team, isn't it? That they were there 50 years ago delving with this subject. Now, Life Yangu is a very sensitive statement. It is a sensitive statement and very real, and it is a moment of revolution. We have heard statements like, it's a constitutional moment. Have you heard that statement? We've heard it with politicians, that it's a constitutional moment. It means that if you introduce that subject now, you will achieve the Constitution. And it happens when there is a lot of fracas, a lot of disorder, and things are not going right. So people must do something. So we're using the same sentiments, I would say, this is the Life Yangu moment, because we've gone through many things. And we need to make a decision now and come up with a constitution that addresses all those things. And therefore we are here to celebrate the achievements of young people. We are here to appreciate the long journey that partners have followed to work together with the young people to be able to reach at this destination. That is partners like governments in the county, like Kisumu and Mombasa, partners like Baya, partners like DSW, and partners like the Center for Studies of Adolescents, where Rosemary and I actually started. And it's a big story how we started this thing. When it is Life Yangu, it triggered moments for me I was a medical student then, and during our sessions in women's health, a young girl we knew appeared from the emergency department in total coma. We tried to resuscitate the young girl very hard, and in came our professor of obstetrics and gynecology, who helped us to try and resuscitate the young girl. The young girl was the daughter of one of the most prominent doctors in the country, and actually one of the first 5 doctors in the country. We tried hard, me and my colleague, who we still work with in the space of reproductive health, Dr. Professor Kamarugu. We tried very hard to resuscitate this girl. She was a young girl in our cohort, extremely pretty and very clever. We tried for more than 8 hours. Unfortunately, she collapsed and she died. And we lost her life. And we asked ourselves the basic question, what would we have done to help this young girl? We debated, and long debate, but the long and short of it, we actually called a conference in Mombasa to talk about the life of young people and their reproductive health. And out of that, the Center for Studies of Adolescents was born. And that center, as Rosemary told you, have influenced policies for adolescent health, the young people's health in the whole of the African continent, starting with Kenya. And several people in the world had emulated this and picked up this. And they are moving with it. Of course, by the end of my presentation, we will say that this app is launched, right? And we will see how it is launched and how we want to use that launch of the app. It will focus on many aspects of reproductive health. But if you look clearly, we are talking about the health and well-being of young people in totality. We're talking about the health and well-being of young people, their parents, their grandparents, and society as a whole. We tend to focus on the complications of sexuality amongst the youth. And big questions that we want to ask ourselves is, once you have known and you have access to the information, the big question is, so what? What are you going to do with it? Is this incorporated? Then we ask our one big question. What is the environment that exists that enables the health of the young people to be preserved? We start with the family environment. We start with the social environment. We had a very eloquent young lady present their experience in Mathare, in Mathare, yes, about what they go through and all those things. And that experience gives you the environment that either protects or promotes or leave you alone and kill you. Because the first contact with information are actually parents. How many times has a child asked a parent, why is my brother having a penis and I don't have a penis, if it's a girl? How do parents respond to that? Do they explain nicely why you have a penis and your sister doesn't have a penis? What is the general reaction? Is it hostility? Is it reprimand? Why I'm trying to raise that? Because the first step in helping young people cope with their sexuality is the orientation and education of parents. So that this app should actually be developed concurrently with information to help parents and childminders to know how to communicate and to know how to help the young people. Because when are you young? When does your life begin to be formed, and when do you change? It is at birth. It is not when you get pregnant. It is not when you want a contraceptive. And of course, there are many innovations that can happen. For example, Bayer, congratulations for producing the first contraceptive. But you could also carried out research and produced a drug which will switch off sex for the rest of your life until you want it. Then you go back and you buy the one which reconstitutes it, so that people do not have problems during that period. All right? That is an innovation. So all these things, we should be helped to reach a point where we have a supportive environment, parents who are supportive, neighbors who are supportive, and also counseling which is supportive. It has been raised many times during the other statements that poverty, economics, is a major factor in all these things. You can have the information, but the poverty which may be affecting governments and are unable to buy contraceptives and all the inputs that help you may affect you negatively. Individual poverty, to reach where you want to reach, may affect you. So all these things are critical in the path towards ensuring the life and livelihoods of our young people so that they can sustain the world. We, as the county governments of Kisumu and Mombasa, are delighted to be here for the launch of this lifeyangu.com platform. We are happy that the organizations picked up the call to come up with a solution that will address some reproductive health challenges young people in our country face. The Kenya population is youthful. As per the 2019 census, 75% of the Kenyans are aged between 35 years and below. This means for the country to benefit from the demographic dividends, we must prioritize the needs of our youths, and there are many, from livelihood to reproductive health issues to just general health issues. We in Kisumu are implementing, just like Mombasa, the universal health coverage. So we are struggling of how to mainstream young people's health into the universal health coverage. Contraceptives is important, sexual education is important, medicines that treat STIs is important, medicines and diagnostics that address HIV/AIDS is important, but at the same time, their oral total health is important. One of the ways to do this is by taking sure that we provide them with the age-appropriate information that will educate and inform them about their reproductive well-being. It is vital that our youths do not struggle in seeking information and services, and that they get this from a trusted source. That is underlying, getting information from a trusted source, because social media can distort a lot of information, and people need information from a trusted source and information that is standardized, but also delivered in a way that it is effective. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the digital age, and as such, there is need to ensure young people are able to access online tools to advance their lives. The government has put in place a raft of measures to create an environment conducive for innovation that will positively impact all Kenyans, including the young people. In 2019, during the International Conference on Population and Development Summit, His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta committed to employ innovation, communication, and technology to ensure adolescents and youth attain the highest standard of health. Efforts will be made to eliminate teenage pregnancies, new HIV infections, and by the way, teenage pregnancies and HIV infection, one of the major consequences is creating a new generation of kids for their grandmothers who are actually 80 and above. I know families who have like 10 new kids. The grandmother is 80 years old from teenage pregnancies and from HIV/AIDS because of death, and therefore the children remaining without a helper. Death of both a mother and a father. So the social impact of this thing is grave. It is extremely grave. And of course, the loss of economic life for the society is something that has to be factored in, because during the ill period, they don't work. When they give birth, they need resources to support them. And these are very, very important things to address. County governments increasingly adopt the use of information and communication and technology in its service delivery and acknowledges the need for such tools in the public domain. Already, ICTs, including mobile communication, is gaining traction due to increased network coverage, high mobile penetrations, and availability of affordable handsets is important. These tools come with a number of advantages, including privacy, which has been repeatedly said, which our young people need in their attempt to seek health information and services. They are also available on demand, all factors considered. It is therefore important that we transfer this to platforms that provide reproductive health information services. It is imperative that this platform, lifeyangu.com, developed by DSW and Bayer, has come to the right time, which I started by saying, like the constitutional moment, this is the Life Yangu moment, where all these factors, the need for appropriate reproductive health services and access to technology intersect. We are proud to be part of the process and to ensure that the information provided on the website is accurate, age appropriate, and relevant. I hope that the young people will find this platform useful, whether it is in relation to seeking sexual and reproductive health information or in finding a facility that will cater for their needs. I also hope that it will contribute to the government's effort to respond to the challenges of reproductive health in the country. I've already talked about the burden of unplanned deliveries, which affect grandmothers. I've talked about the issues of the death of mothers and fathers because of HIV/AIDS, leaving and disproportionate number of children to the grandmothers who are 80 and above, and the economic and social effects of these things, and therefore we need, and I say that I emphasize, that clarity has to be made on when do you become a youth who need these services. Do we also focus on your upbringing and orientation and training by parents? So do we make parents also a target for this thing? Because by the time you leave the parents as a target, there's a huge backlog of reproductive ignorance that takes place, and it delivers you into a very hostile platform. I would like to end by a joke. When the children of Israel were moving from Egypt to the promised land, they were always pestering God to deliver. There's one time that they said, we were enjoying in Egypt. Why did you get us out of that place? We don't have food to eat. We don't have anything to do. So what did God do? He organized ready-made food in the name of manna. So it would rain and you just have a banquet and you keep walking. So this went on. If they saw God could do this, the women, of course, their traditional role of carrying children on the back and walking and having pregnancy for 9 months, they wanted instant pregnancies and instant delivery. This went on, and the God got tired. So one time they said, if you are the real God, why don't you make us like animals, cows and horses, that we give birth and our children just run off? So Moses went back and told God the new demand. So God sent a message that if you want it that way, I will do it. But your sex will only be once in a year. The women protested. And that is how we went back to where we are. Thank you very much. Thank you, Bayer. Thank you, DSW, for all this. But thank you, the youth. You are the flowers of the future. Be well. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you to our chief guest. Please, please just remain on stage. Don't go anywhere. Yes. The moment we have all been waiting for has finally arrived. I love what you said about parents. I think parents don't talk to their children about sex and sexuality because they don't have a curriculum. They don't know what to say. Mwalimu akisimama mbele ya class anasema 1 + 1 = 2 because they were given a whole curriculum. But parents, we look at our children, they say funny words like dudu and susu, and we continue with this funny vocabulary, susu and dudu, because we don't have a better curriculum. So, Life Yangu we are launching, but kazi kwenu, content for parents.
Very nice.
I love
and in
it.
fact, we have Dr. Odula, prominent reproductive health specialist. She knows the journey she went through. And Rosemary knows the journey she went through. There was a time, even in school, if they said we are going to talk about sex, it's class full. Everybody's coming. But when they start talking and they mention the word penis, you take off and hide under the table. Okay, because it's a strange word. Eh?
True.
When they say the word vagina, say, oh, what is this?
That's true.
You remember that time?
Yes, that's
yes,
true.
Yes. But now we have to mainstream it.
We do. It should be normal for us to say the words vagina, penis. We should know the difference between vulva and vagina. But on that note, we'll stop and focus on what brought us here today, which is the launch of Life Yangu. And I'd like to invite Dr. Strello back to the stage and Mwana Hawa. We are being watched all the way in West Pokot, Mombasa, Kisumu. The live stream is working. So please welcome to the stage so that we can launch this platform. Mwana Hawa, where are you? I don't see you. There you are. There you are. Soon, Dr. Mwana Hawa, right? And then I'll be on stage with all doctors. I'm the only one without a doctorate. Hata mimi kazi kwangu, nirudi shule, I learned something new. So for all the youth in the back, this platform is for you. I would like us to start by saying, Life Yangu Hoe! Ay. What's happening? Do we need some coffee in the back? Let's try again. Life Yangu Hoe! That's more like it. Okay. So we have a whole plan with a countdown. When we say 3, I want to hear Life Yangu Hoe. When we say 2, I want to hear Life Yangu Hoe. When we say 1, I want all of us to say Life Yangu Hoe. And then we launch the platform, okay? Like that New Year's moment. That's what we're trying to recreate. Sawa sawa? Yeah. Do we stand up? Can we be upstanding and excited? And you're going to help me with this Life Yangu maneno. Okay, so are we ready? with the countdown and everything? Okay, just practice one more time. Life Yangu Hoi! Okay, let's start with the
Life Yangu. Juu life ni kujipanga.
Congratulations to you for being here as well. Come closer for the pictures. I think we all need to be standing very close to each other for the pictures. Are we doing okay.
Everybody dance, everybody dance, everybody dance.
All the young people in the front. Congratulations again to the entire team, DSW, Bea, thank you, and also all the young people who gave their input, and our chief guest, thank you, thank you. Willis Ogutu, I'd like to invite you for the vote of thanks. Willis? Oh yes, there's a video. Sorry, I forgot. There's a video. We must see the actual platform. We must see the actual site. How could I forget?
It's finally here. Our brand new website, lifeyangu.com, the website that helps young Kenyans make great informed decisions about their sexual health by giving them tools, information, and the confidence they need. Here, we inform you. On Life Yangu, you will get information about sexual and reproductive health and why it is important to be responsible and take control of your sexual reproductive health. You will also get information about the different types of contraceptives, how they work, their effectiveness and limitations, as well as side effects experienced by some users. You will also get answers to some of the frequently asked questions. Because life is about community, you will discover how you can get involved and join a community zone. The best way to make a difference is to join. And if you need help, guidance or medical treatment, we've got access to health facilities and medical practitioners. We've also mapped a wide network of public health centers, and the map will help you locate one that is closest to you. Remember, it's a youth-friendly zone. The health workers are friendly and professional, and the services are free and affordable. Visit lifeyangu.com today to find out more about sexual reproductive health. Life Yangu. Juu life ni kujipanga.
Life ni kujipanga. I love the tagline as well. And I'd like to invite Willis Ogutu to the stage for a quick vote of thanks.
Thank you very much, everyone. Good afternoon. I want to be a little bit generous with my vote of thanks because, to be honest, there is quite a lot of work that has happened to have this project up and running. And there are so many players that have taken part and to make sure that today happens, and today we have, for the first time, a platform that is going to offer direction for young people who want to access healthcare services to the public facilities. So as we speak right now, there is a lot of platforms. A number of them are focusing on the private sector. A few of them also are focusing on the social marketing organizations, but not much are directing youth to the government-managed facilities. So this is just the first step. Just to mention, we have 3 counties of the 47 involved, but then we are going to roll it up so that at the end of it all, the entire country, youths from Marsabit, from the coast, from the west, and from the northern region are able to just click and say there is a facility next to me or not. You will be surprised that not all facilities offer FP services. We came to realize that there are some like the ones in the airports, some that offer very special services to old people or senior citizens. And so we realized so many things in doing this. So I want to give my vote of thanks. And I'm going to split it into different groups that are represented. I start with the chief guests. Rosemary Mugandi is also a very senior employee of PATH. PATH is a very passionate organization dealing with youth, and so she's one of the advocates in this region. We also have Pamela Onduso. Pamela, please wave. She's very senior but has a youthful spirit. The first people to introduce youth programs in the country. Pamela is quite senior. When I grew up, I knew her. Up to today, she's still here. So Pamela, congratulations. Evelyn Samba from DSW, we have worked with her throughout this whole journey. There are a few people who have dropped, people have joined, but from the word go, Evelyn has been part of this team. We have our able representative, the senior most representative from Bayer, Dr. Frank Strello is here. I think he's walked out. So we shall introduce him again when he's back together with the team. And then, of course, the CC, George Rae. You come from my region, you come from my home area, so you are representing as well. We have worked a lot with Kisumu County, quite a number of senior managers before, and we shall have that discussion later. So the second group that I want to introduce are the ministry, the government departments that are here. First is the Ministry of Health. The policy makers, the national government, had a say on this platform. So after we did everything, they still went back to them and they had to authorize. And they made it very clear to us, nothing should be shown on this platform before they give a go-ahead. A very clear statement from them. Before we did this launch today, they said, send us the credentials, we'll look at it one more time before we go here. So know that it has gone through a lot of approvals for this to happen here. So we have the National Council for Population and Development. Are you still here? Yeah, she's there. The parastatal that is tasked with dealing with all population issues in the country is NCPD. So they are part of it. They were represented in building this platform. So the team came. So then, in the same regard, we have regional governments that are represented here: Kisumu, Nairobi, and Mombasa. So these three regions are the pioneers of this platform. But however, as I told you, more and more will come. There were so many other regions who wanted to be part of this event today, but we felt we wanted to do it progressively. So I'm proud of you for being pioneers. The lady sitting here is a nurse and is an RH coordinator, has a lot of contribution on this platform. We have to recognize you. Please wave like this. Yes, yes. So, and then we have nurses here, service providers themselves. One of them was on the panel, and quite a number of them representing different regions. They are the people who are going to drive this youth-friendly agenda in the hospitals. Without them, I can tell you for sure that skit that happened expressed the feeling of the young people, that without those young people and the nurses working together, nothing will happen. Quite a number of passionate ones. There are many, so I won't mention, but we recognize you. Then I go to partners. DSW have already recognized you as a partner. Path have recognized you, Pathfinder. Dr. Jesse is here, Triggerize. He's a pharmacist, but I think nowadays he's a tech geek. He says, I think I can write a thesis on e-platforms. We have a partnership with them in another project as buyer. So in that right forum, again, we shall discuss that when we launch. So thank you very much for gracing our occasion. Dr. Job, Maristops Kenya, is one of our key partners. I think he has walked out, but he's also one of the key partners. And then we have TCI, represented by Jepiego, is also here, one of our key partners in another project, represented by Magdalene there. Very passionate about young people in Nairobi here. So welcome. And then we have University of Nairobi. Dr. Odula is here. Dr. Odula, stand up. Please stand up, Dr. Odula. Very senior doctor. Among the most senior doctors, my colleague here, Kasim, I'm sure while you are very young, you already knew Dr. Odula. Kasim is our head in this region of East Africa. So Dr. Odula, if you interact with her, then you'll know she's very young. She drives the agenda of youth and health in Nairobi University, the biggest university in East Africa, East and Southern Africa. So Dr. Odula, thank you for gracing our occasion, and we honor your presence. And then we have Living Goods. These are some of our partners that are here. Howard is there. These are the people who drive the community organizations, the community strategy of health. They have foot soldiers. So they have a lot of young people with bicycles, with bags, carrying medicine, and they drive it properly in this region. So you will not feel them, but they are doing a very key component. Then I go to the next group. Very important people, the professional associations. Now, because the associations, I won't mention names, the National Nurses Association of Kenya, all the reproductive health discussions start from them. They make policy, they negotiate with the governments, they take care of their employees who are the nurses, and also they reach out to standardization and quality. We have the Midwives Association. There's always been a big debate on the line between midwifery and nurses in Kenya. It's not quite clear, but they are driving the agenda to create a very clear distinction, to the extent that now you can even do your master's in midwifery, something that is quite new in the country. So we recognize them. We have a representative. Reproductive Health Network of Kenya is also here. The group that manages all the clinical officers and nurses in the private sector is represented here. And then finally, the Kenya Obs and Gyns Association. This is one of the most influential associations, also represented here. So I move to the next group. You apologize, I'm not mentioning all, but I'm picking a sample population. The youth. The youth. You are the future of this country. So we start from there. Now we have the youths from different organizations here. We have youths who have watch parties right now. It's going live in the regions. They are there. And then we have these youth-serving organizations like NAYA, And there are so many of them. I've seen that list as almost 20 or 25 organizations representing youth. So the engine of this platform is going to be driven through a youth strategy, through the youth empowerment centers and the youth serving organizations. So we recognize your presence here, and we'll come back to you as we discuss how best to make sure our youth access information. So we have the press here. Over 15 media houses are represented here, from the TV, from the print media houses, and also the bloggers and digital writers. So we thank you very much for attending and gracing our occasion despite your schedules. And then we have Valentine here, one of our key influencers. I hope you have Googled her by now, because she is very, very passionate when it comes to issues to do with gender, women empowerment, and also health. Very passionate. So it was not by coincidence that we invited her to be the MC. She exactly knows what is happening here. Thank you very much, Valentine, for gracing our occasion. So I think it's fair enough to recognize the effort put by our technical guys. Jackton is here. All the live streaming, all the recordings. We have Twitter handles, Facebook, Instagram, they are the engines driving it. We have Pulse Digital Agency, all the content, hundreds of contents that have been created. Wamuyu, please wave. We have the country director. Pulse is a global organization with many branches. And then we have Oxygen, one of the biggest PR agencies in the country. Is quite a big team. Rose is here representing them, and one of the senior managers. And then finally, can all buyer employees please stand up? So to show how serious this platform is, Frank is the head of the delegation, the senior most in this group. He's just arrived from Germany yesterday night and is leaving tomorrow. Only for this launch. So that is how serious this platform is to us. We have Casimir, who is in charge of our region here, in the pharma business, right in front of us. We have our head of, he's our company pharmacist and also a director in Bayer East Africa, Dr. John Mwangi. Misha, please stand up. Misha is very structured, and so he's one of the person who makes us sober most of the time. But he's also a senior manager in charge of injectables and pills, Bayer Global, in this business of the public sector. He's also arrived with Frank from Germany, and we want to recognize you in a special way. Senior, please stand up. You can have a seat, the people I've mentioned. Senior is driving partnership agenda. Kasim, you can have a seat. Globally, the World Contraception Day is chaired by Senior here. So she's come to understand the dynamics of how best to work with the youths. Naomi Dick is from West Africa. Please, yes. Dr. Naomi Dick is from West Africa and driving our business agenda in the entire West African region. She's also come for this launch. So back there we have a big team. Maybe I'll just mention two. We have Anthony. Anthony is the head of communications. East and Southern Africa. He's making sure that whatever goes out to the public is certified and accurate. And then next one is Helen. All the medicine that we want to go to the patients in a very affordable, in a very appropriate way. Helen drives the agenda, market assess business. And then behind her is Mateka. Mateka drives our commercial business in this region. Very senior and experienced employee. Thank you very much, Mateka. And then Dr. Judy Onyinge, also very experienced, is here with us to present. Very technical. She's usually very, very technical. When you have a discussion with her, you have to be careful. Judy, thank you very much. And then we have Imelda. Imelda is my colleague. She's also one of my colleagues. Velma, sorry. She's just this occasion. We want to welcome you in a special way. And then Lydia. Lydia is the one who manages us all here, the way you see us here. So without you, Lydia, we cannot survive. And then finally, give a clap for Mildred. she's our host today. So the entire business operation here is under her. And so for those few remarks, I think I have touched on everybody that I needed to recognize. It was a representation, and so forgive me if I did not mention you in a special way, but thank you very much for gracing the occasion and being part of this movement. So I hand over the mic to Valentine.
You said you're from a specific region, Erokamano. That means thank you. In Luo, for those of us who don't speak the language, I know a few words. I think that's it. Thank you and good night. Oriti, that's all I know, which is what I'm about to say right now. I'm about to invite us all. Well, we're going to have lunch. Everything has been set up. And a lady named Pauline Nyambura is about to lead us in a word of prayer to thank God for such a beautiful occasion. As Willis has pointed out, I am very passionate about women's empowerment and sexual reproductive health and rights, and it has been an absolute privilege to be a part of your event and the launch of Life Yangu. You cannot have a successful life if you're not in charge of your sexual health and the choices that you make there. So this is very, very exciting. As I've kept saying all morning, Pauline, please join me on stage so I can stop rambling. Are you the one with the white hair? Oh, I love it. It's very Wakanda. It is, isn't it? Am I the only one who thinks that? Let's at least clap for Pauline as she comes on stage. The silence in the room, it makes you uncomfortable, yes? Okay, here you go.
May all of us stand and pray. Let's breathe and pray. Oh dear Lord, come before you. Say thank you for this day. Thank you for protecting us. Thank you for guiding us, Almighty God. You have not taken anything for granted, Almighty God. Thank you for the lunch and thank you for the guest, Almighty God. I've said thank you, Almighty God. As we close, may you be with us as we go home and protect us. We do pray and believe. Amen.
If you know you've spoken on this stage, then you know the drill. There will be photo ops and we will require you for pictures. So please don't go too far even as you're having your lunch. There's also a gift for everybody. They're being distributed, so make sure you don't leave empty-handed. There's a gift for everyone in the room. And you look like you want to tell me something. What do you want to tell me? May the guest of honor, Dr. Rae, Ms. Samba, and Mwana Hawa. Okay, that's it. Okay. And Mildred. Yes. Okay. Huh? Oh, just the three. Okay. Mildred, 1 second. Just the three. Wait, Dr. Rai, please, pictures.
It's finally here. Our brand new website, lifeyangu.com, the website that helps young Kenyans make great informed decisions about their sexual health by giving them tools, information, and the confidence they need. Here, we inform you. On Life Yangu, you will get information about sexual and reproductive health and why it is important to be responsible and take control of your sexual reproductive health. You will also get information about the different types of contraceptives, how they work, their effectiveness and limitations, as well as side effects experienced by some users. You will also get answers to some of the frequently asked questions. Because life is about community, you will discover how you can get involved and join a community zone. The best way to make a difference is to join. And if you need help, guidance or medical treatment, we've got access to health facilities and medical practitioners. We've also mapped a wide network of public health centers, and the map will help you locate one that is closest to you. Remember, it's a youth-friendly zone. The health workers are friendly and professional, and the services are free and affordable. Visit lifeyangu.com today to find out more about sexual reproductive health. Life Yangu. Juu life ni kujipanga.